you're my father. A black waitress confronts a billionaire. The lunch rush was in full swing at Marley's Diner, a small family-owned restaurant in the heart of Atlanta. Plates clinked, the smell of sizzling bacon filled the air, and waitresses zipped between booths, balancing trays like tightrope walkers. Amara, a 26-year-old waitress with warm brown eyes and a stubborn streak, was wiping down table 14 when the front door opened. In walked a tall man in a perfectly tailored navy suit. He had that presence, the kind that made the room go quieter without anyone realizing why. His salt and pepper hair was trimmed to precision, and his Rolex caught the light as he adjusted his cuff. Amara froze. She knew that face. She had seen that face every night for the last 2 months in the old photograph her mother kept hidden in a shoebox. Her heart pounded. That's him. She grabbed a menu, walked toward him, and said with a voice she barely recognized as her own, "Table for one?" He looked up from his phone, offered a polite nod, and followed her to the corner booth. Amara set down the menu, but instead of stepping away, she blurted out, "You're my father." The words hung in the air like a dropped glass. The billionaire Jonathan Reeves, owner of the largest real estate empire in the Southeast, blinked, visibly caught off guard. "Yeah, broken bar, I think you must be mistaken," he said softly, his voice measured, but there was a flicker in his eyes. Amara crossed her arms, leaning against the booth. "My mother's name is Leila Thomas. She worked as a hotel housekeeper in Charleston 27 years ago. She told me your name once, Jonathan Reeves. She kept a picture of you, younger, smiling. That same crooked smile you just gave me when you walked in." The diner noise faded. Jonathan set his phone down, his jaw tightening. "Leila," he whispered, almost to himself. "She broken bar. She never told me she had a child." "She didn't want your money," Amara said, voice trembling now. "She wanted you to care. But she died last year, and I've been wondering my whole life why I never had a father." Jonathan looked like the air had been knocked out of him. He reached for his water, took a slow sip, and finally said, "If this is true, broken bar, I owe you more than an apology. I owe you my presence." For the next hour, Amara didn't wait tables. She sat across from him, telling him about her childhood day, how her mom worked double shifts, how birthdays were just store-bought cupcakes and candles, how she'd always dreamed of going to culinary school but could never afford it. Jonathan listened, not the distracted kind of listening powerful men often do, but really listened. His eyes stayed on hers, his hands folded, his questions careful. Halfway through, he said quietly, "Amara, I can't undo the years I missed, but I can be here now, if you'll let me." She didn't respond right away. Trust wasn't built in an hour, but something about the way he looked at her, raw, unguarded, almost pleading, made her believe him. When the check came, he didn't let her touch it. As he signed the bill, he slid an envelope across the table. "This isn't charity, it's a beginning." Inside was a letter of recommendation for the top culinary institute in the country, and a scholarship in her name, fully funded. Her hands shook. "Why would you do this for me?" she whispered. Jonathan's voice cracked as he said, "Because I should have been the one cheering you on your whole life. I can't change the past, marry a broken bar, but I can make sure your future isn't built on struggle alone." She swallowed hard, blinking back tears. For the first time in years, she felt something she hadn't let herself feel before, hope. As Jonathan stood to leave, he paused at the door, turned back, and said, "This is the first of many lunches. Next time, you're picking the place, daughter." The word daughter felt strange, but warm, and though Amara didn't say it aloud, in her heart she thought, maybe this is the start of something good. Part 2. At the second lunch, a week later, Amara sat at a small outdoor cafe tilde copyright in Midtown, her hands wrapped around a latte she could barely taste. Every part of her wanted to cancel, to send a text saying she was busy, that she'd made a mistake. She wasn't used to men keeping their promises. Then a sleek black car pulled up, and Jonathan Reeves stepped out in no suit this time, just a crisp white shirt with rolled sleeves and a navy blazer. He spotted her instantly, smiled that familiar crooked smile, and walked over. "You came," he said, almost relieved. "You said you'd be here," she replied. For the next 2 hours, they didn't talk about business, or the past, or money. They talked about her favorite recipes, her love for baking at 2 a.m., and how she used to sneak her mom's work leftovers into her lunchbox. Jonathan shared his own small-town beginnings, stories of working in his uncle's hardware store, and how he still remembered the taste of his grandmother's peach cobbler. At one point, Amara laughed, really laughed, and Jonathan just stared, like he was memorizing the moment. When the waiter brought dessert menus, Jonathan surprised her. "I didn't come here today to just talk, Amara. I came here to tell you, broken bar, I want to be part of your life, not just in big ways, but in the small ways, 2 birthday dinners, late-night phone calls, even taste testing your recipes. I want to earn the right to call you my daughter." Her throat tightened. She had prepared for awkwardness, for a man who might show up once or twice and then vanish. But this was something she didn't know how to handle. "It's not that easy," she said. "I can't just flip a switch and pretend the last 26 years didn't happen." Jonathan nodded. "I'm not asking you to. I'm asking you to give me a chance to prove I'm not going anywhere." And over the next few months, he did. He showed up at the diner on slow afternoons, sitting in her section no matter how many open tables there were. He helped her fill out applications for culinary school, taste tested her chocolate mousse, and even fixed a leaky faucet in her apartment himself instead of sending a handyman. By the time spring rolled around, Amara wasn't just calling him Jonathan anymore. She was calling him Dad. And when graduation day came, met her in a white chef's coat, holding her diploma. Jonathan stood in the front row, clapping until his hands turned red. After the ceremony, he hugged her so tightly she thought she might cry all over again. "You didn't just get a diploma today," he whispered. "You gave me a second chance at fatherhood." Amara smiled through tears. "And you gave me a father I never thought I'd have."